Hey, I think we're live.
Are we, Spencer?
I don't even know anymore. I'm like 99.999% sure that we're live. Repeating, of course. Let's start the show.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Benzinga Nation, jam-packed show today. Peloton up 5%.
What's up, discipline investor?
We got Benzinga CEO Jason Raznick here with us.
The man, the myth, the legend, Tom Nash.
Peter Schiff on the Power Hour with us live today.
Interesting, different, unique, innovative companies.
Mia, you are live with us on the Power Hour. What's up?
Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Jessica Billingsley, that is the CEO of Akerna.
The best trade idea resource out there.
Man, we got to get ourselves a new intro. What's up, everybody? How we doing? I'm Spencer. There's AB. We got a big show today. I mean, it's Friday, right? It's going to be like a casual, it's like Friday casual show, right, man?
Happy Friday, everybody. Yeah, it'll be a fun casual show. At 12:30, we will be joined by John Ehrlichman. You may have seen him on Twitter. He's got a big Twitter following, about 200,000 followers. Been on, basically every big, Bloomberg, Fortune, ABC, you name it. We're going to have him on, talk about what he's been watching, anything on his radar. And then at 1 p.m., we will have Tony Benson on from Wealth Builders HQ. And after that, at 1:30, kind of an interesting guest, Spencer, we've got Evan Mendoza, who is a minor league baseball player for the St. Louis Cardinals, my St. Louis Cardinals, who also has his own NFT project. He's very into the whole crypto NFT space. We're going to talk to Evan about that.
When you said minor, I thought you were going to say like he was like a miner of cryptocurrencies.
He might be.
I thought that's where you're going with that.
I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll see him in the big leagues next year and be like, oh, hey, we talked to that guy. We had him on our show.
It can happen. Hey, before we proceed, though, I just want to say, before we go any further, today's show, we have a sponsor, everyone. We have a sponsor on today's show. Look at that. Let's bring them up on the screen here. Today's show is sponsored by the Forex Trading Summit. There you see them on the screen. It's being hosted by IG November 9th. The interactive virtual trading summit from IG features industry expert teaching you all things Forex. Learn your FX basics, the benefits of diversifying your portfolio, contrarian approach, and how IG's experts book their trades on their own platform with special guests, including the VP of No Nonsense Forex and Brian Caprice. Register today. Let's put the link up on the screen. I had it up and now it's gone. Let's put the link up. There it is. IG.com/US/trading summit to learn more. Again, November 9th, 11 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. Link on screen, link in description. And there you go. Is it in chat? We'll put it there. It is. It's in chat too. Look at that. It's in all the places. Check that out. Hey, speaking of summits, everyone, did you know that the Benzinga Fintech Summit, or no, not Fintech Awards, excuse me, Fintech Awards is next week? AB, did you know that?
I did actually. So a lot of exciting fintech companies. Tune in Tuesday, right?
Tuesday all day. Tuesday is going to be a weird day for us because we're going to have the Fintech Awards. Luke and Jason are going to be your MCs throughout the day. I'll be on as well. Once or twice with a bunch of people from the company are going to be making some guest appearances. But Luke and Jason are your MCs Tuesday. They're going to be live from New York doing the show, virtual show, but they'll be in New York. And then we're doing an after party. And if you're in New York and you want to go to the after party, go to BenzingaFintechAwards.com to find out how you can do that. But Benzinga Fintech Awards, it is our premier event. It is the first event we ever did. It's our flagship. It's the day where we celebrate all the innovation happening in the space, and we're very excited for that. So that'll be Tuesday. Don't forget about that. Okay. A great point was made in the chat that in the intro. This was funny. Great catch from
Peloton up.
Yeah,
I noticed that as well.
Great catch from ScarJo. Today is a great day for that. But before we get to all that, I want to just do a crypto update first. AB, can you please bring up the heat map on the screen so we can do a crypto update? We'll do that real quick, and then we will go into the real questions of the day. Right? We're talking Peloton, we're talking Penn. Do we buy the dip? Do we not? Questions, answers, I don't know. There's the heat map. Let's do a crypto update brought to you by All right, things have changed since the last time we did this. ETH is now in the green, barely, but in the green. It seems like there was far more red than there was the last time we did this a couple hours ago. Bitcoin still barely in the red. Solana down 1%. Binance Coin up even more now. It was up 8% 2 hours ago. It's up 10.5% now. Solana, whatever. Cardano, kind of quiet. The meme coins all doing okay. Sheeb, Doge looking strong. This is the part where I tell you that our crypto show, Moon or Bust, will be live at 2 p.m. at the conclusion of this show. And it's also the part where I tell you that you can get some free Bitcoin. All you have to do is download the Voyager app, right? You go to your phone, you got your phone up on the screen, right? You do the phone thing, right? You go to the phone, you go to the App Store, you download Voyager, you use the code ZING, Z-I-N-G, you deposit $100, and you make your first trade. And then they will give you some free Bitcoin.
Who doesn't love free Bitcoin? Yeah, I mean, I know my buddy Luke here just bought some Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't know if he wants us talking about that. Yeah, screw it. He's not here. Yeah, Luke went and bought himself some Bitcoin, and good for him, man.
Yeah,
Good for
I mean,
him.
I got to get back into it. I'm going to buy some Ethereum here. I've just been waiting for a good time to do it, but I don't know when it'll be a
There's
good
no
time.
time like the present.
I know, right? All right, Spencer, well, let's talk some news real quick. So some big headlines that you mentioned. Peloton down bigly after earnings last night. So the stock is currently down around 33%, around 34% actually. So essentially some of the big takeaways from the company's earnings yesterday. Something that stuck out to investors was inventory. So everyone's been talking about the supply chain crisis. Everyone's having trouble getting enough parts for their products, etc. Well, not Peloton. Peloton's inventory was up about 200% from its previous quarter. Not a good sign, considering they have essentially warehouses full of bikes in the midst of this supply chain crisis. If you recall, the earnings report from the quarter prior, Peloton announced that it was lowering its price point on its basic bike model, which is typically not something companies do if their products are just flying off the shelves, is lower the prices. So, you know, back to back, not great earnings or guidance for Peloton. And yeah, I'm wondering if we have any buy the dippers out there. Let us know in the chat if you're considering, if you've already bought the dip.
Please let us know.
I know I am not. I do not like this stock whatsoever. I didn't like it at 100. I don't like it at 56. I wouldn't even like it at 40 right now.
You know what's crazy is it's almost hard to see the candle today because the volume bar is so high and the candle is so low. I almost missed it. We're all the way down here, everyone. Forget all this up there. Forget all that. We're all the way down here.
James in the chat is saying our guest's pick yesterday in Seago's looking nice today. Shout out Matt Kolb. I don't know where he is or what he's doing. Where in the world is Matt Kolb? That's going to be a new segment because he could be anywhere. But yeah, and Seago is his 5G play. So just before we wrap up on Peloton, here's my, I guess, bear case on this stock. So we had the stock take off during COVID, and that's from a few different reasons, right? I mean, the overall market took off during COVID. People were home buying stocks. So a lot of stocks just skyrocketed during COVID. Peloton was one of them. Of course, the whole workout from home, like the work from home trade, worked out during COVID. Well, now
worked out. I see what you did there.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
So now people are able to get back in the gym. They're able to, they're not confined to their own house and being able to work out in their own house. I remember during the peak of COVID going to a Dick's Sporting Goods and looking for some, like dumbbell stuff to work out. Everything was sold out. Everyone was just buying all the workout equipment they could for their house. But now, so say a Peloton's what, 50, 60, I don't know how much it is, 50, 60 bucks a month if you want to pay it off monthly. Why not spend that money on a gym membership where you have stationary bikes, squat racks, and a million other things?
And Pelotons at the gym.
Pelotons do have a lot of B2B sales as well, to gyms, to apartment buildings, etc. So the fact that you can essentially spend the same amount of money that you would on a Peloton at a gym membership, where you would get all these other things, and I think people are eager to get out of the house too. So I'm not going to be a buyer at this stock, I don't think, at any price.
Surely there is a price.
There is a price. You offered it to me at $10 a share right now.
All right, well, wait, where did it open at? It opened at 27. I'd be interested at 27, but we're at 56 right now, so I don't know. I remember years ago, this is pre-IPO, this is like 2018. I remember we had someone in the office and Jason was talking to them, and I happened to walk by the conversation. They were talking about Peloton, right? And Jason was like, no, you don't understand. It's a content play. And I went, okay. I rolled my eyes. Like, all right, Raz, whatever. Well, that bullishness worked out for, the first year and a half that this company, more than that actually, because it IPO'd in 2019 in September. And yeah, we'll call it a year and a half. Worked out for a year and a half now, but it's been tough sledding in the last few months, obviously. So these things, when they turn hard, they turn fast. I'm not calling Peloton dead. That is definitely premature. But if you're in this thing, you only stay in it if you have a really high tolerance for pain, because it could get worse here. And if it turns around, it's going to take a while, right? This is probably a multi-year story now, because everyone's turned against them, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I honestly, if Peloton has the resources and the money and everything, that they could, have a new interesting vertical come out of it, whatever. But right now, with the way company is, it's just not interesting to me. So Spencer, well, let's go from Peloton.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I screwed up. All right, now we can't do that. Go to AMC.
Okay, AMC. Hey, did you see the headline, the news last night? I know you did. Popcorn. And wait, what is the news? AMC is getting into the popcorn game. Is that right?
Yep.
But I thought they already were in the popcorn game.
I thought so too.
Wait, you know what? Here, I'll be right back, because I want to get my popcorn. It's good that we're talking about this today, because I literally put my popcorn bucket in the trash, but it's still here.
So yeah, you better hope so.
I'm going to go and get it. I'll be right back. Tell us about the popcorn thing.
All right. So essentially, AMC announced that they are getting into what is supposedly a multi-billion-dollar industry, and that is the popcorn industry. So what I can imagine this looks like is you'll be able to go to a grocery store and buy AMC branded popcorn. I don't know. I mean, to me, it seems like AMC is kind of grasping at straws right now for different announcements that the company can make to see a catalyst. I actually the chart right now, excuse me, Shelly pointed out in chat, said that it looks like it could take off here. I mean, AMC is always prone to have a huge move. So if you're trading day in and day out, kind of day trading, definitely worth having on your radar just to try to scalp. But I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, $40 a share is still very expensive for AMC.
Okay, so as a reminder, and it's I kept this entire time here. God bless you, man. I went and bought myself some popcorn in AMC. Hey, can we fix my camera, Rohan? I'm a little bit tall. I'm gonna hunch down a little bit. Thank you. And the reason I thought they were in the popcorn game is because I went and I asked them for a free bag. I said, can you give me one of these? And they were like, no, you have to pay for it, because that's how they know how much popcorn that they sell. It's a weight thing. Did you know that?
No.
So they only know how much popcorn they sell by how many bags they sell.
Okay.
Right. So I bought a bag of popcorn. And actually, while I was at it, oh no, I'm sorry, it was also a bucket. I tried to buy a bucket first, which I got this one, and then they were like, hey, do you want this special one too? And I said, okay, give me that too. So I ended up with a Wonder Woman bucket, a normal bucket, and a bag that I've kept all this time for no apparent reason, but we should just keep this on here as a prop, because I think it's funny. So we're just gonna leave that there for now. And yeah, Mitch was all over the AMC trade. AMC is not reacting to this news because it's honestly a dumb headline, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, what was the last AMC came out and said they were accepting different cryptocurrencies as payment. Like that may have popped the stock for a second, but at the end of the day, I don't know what's going to take this thing to the next level from 40 back to 60 or whatever it is, if there is anything. So I'm not a buyer of AMC right now. But like I said, if you're day trading, always be looking out for that next move, because if you get in early, definitely an opportunity to scalp some good percentage there. But Spencer, let's get to the other big news of the day. That is Penn National Gaming.
Yeah, this is sort of the big news of yesterday as well, right? They had the earnings report. We saw that. Sorry, I was talking with a guest. Earnings report wasn't great. BI story comes out on Dave Portnoy. Wasn't great. Let's get the chart up on the screen and we can look at what's happened, because it's been a pretty it's actually been a bit of a buy the dip. That's not Penn. That's the wrong stock. Here it is. So it's actually been an interesting day for Penn, because the stock is up today, right? If you look at just from the open, or even from the close, it's up 10%. Let's pull up that chart, Spencer. There we go. It's actually been a bit of a buy the dip day. Now, in the grand scheme of things, this chart looks pretty bad, right? I mean, that's pretty ugly. How high did we get in March? 142, and now we're at 63. So we're down what is that? 60%, 55%. Since the highs in March. That's not great. However, unlike Peloton, I would be more willing to buy people already are today, and I would be with them in buying the dip in Penn for the fundamentals over a Peloton, right? Or over a Zillow, or over any of these other beaten down names, right? A lot of the casinos have been punished. It's not just Penn. You can look at DraftKings as well. And they had earnings this morning, and the stock is down 2% today. But look at that chart on DKNG. Doesn't look as bad, but also doesn't look great this year. It's been a tough year for DraftKings. Win, same thing. Las Vegas Sands, same thing. MGM is the one bucking the trend. Not quite sure why. Maybe it's their lack of exposure to China, but then again, so does Penn. Has no exposure to China, so I don't quite know what's going on there. But I'd be willing to take a flyer here on a casino, whether it's Penn, whether it's Las Vegas Sands, whether it's Wynn. Let's go back to the Penn chart. I could be interested here, knowing that I may be underwater for a while, right? If you buy today, understand it, today's action notwithstanding, you could easily see 50 here, right? Why not? We've gone from 140 to 60. Why not 50? Why not 40? But I'd be willing to. Oh, you know what I see here on this weekly chart? This just jumped out to me. I just noticed this. We got this sort of quintuple bottom situation here on the weeklies from November to August of last year in the $50, basically at $50, right?
Yeah, and I don't know about you, Spencer, but I'm actually surprised by Penn's price action today, because a lot of times, yesterday was a weird day for Penn because we had two different negative catalysts working against the stock. But typically after a not so great earnings report and the stock trades down a lot the day after, it's rare to see such a strong bounce back because a lot of that selling after earnings is coming from the institutional side. So, I don't know if maybe, the stock sold off because of earnings, then sold off again off the news coming out yesterday about Dave Portnoy. And then maybe, those institutional same sellers that sold off from the earnings said, okay, now it's even lower from this other news. Now we can buy back. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it. I'm staying on the sidelines, though, Spencer. So you're taking the buy the dip side. I'm saying, no, sir. I'm staying on the sidelines. I'm not saying I'm going out there and buying puts on Penn or anything like that, but I just don't know if I don't know.
Well, let me give the argument why, we could easily look back in a year or two and say, whoa, you remember when Penn was all the way down at 60? Oh, what a great shot that was, right? The fundamentals are still in favor, right? The company is still in a growing business. They're entering new markets all the time. It's not as if sports betting is going to get smaller, right? And even if you take away the Dave Portnoy factor, right? Even if you take him away from Barstool and all that he brings from a marketing and a branding standpoint, right? It's still a huge company that has basically no marketing spend, right? Compared to its peers, compared to DraftKings, compared to FanDuel and whomever. So I still, the fundamentals are still in play. I like it from that side, which is why I would be more than willing to buy this dip if I had to take a flyer on something. Luke Jacoby's here, everyone. I think he wants to come on the show in 5 minutes, he says. Okay, 4 or 5 minutes. You want to come on right now, man? You want to sit in my seat? Come on over. Just come on over, man. Hot Stocks Luke. Hot Stocks Luke. What's up, man? How we doing?
All right.
What's up?
All right. Thanks for having me, Spencer.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Okay.
Okay.
So can we talk about Ford for a second? Ford Motor.
Are you still along?
This is my 2021 stock of the year. It's
yes,
the
it
biggest
was.
position that I have.
Oh, I hate you.
I'm so long this stock at this point.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, we
so
bought a decent amount of shares. Oh my god. Wait, that's not an updated chart. Is that it? Is that what today?
Yes, man. This is today. This is a weekly.
Okay, that's why it looks weird. Give me the dailies, please.
Okay.
Okay, so today is not as a little bit broken. But all right, here's the thing, Spency. This 2021 stock of the year, it's swelled to become the biggest position of my portfolio by far.
Oh my gosh.
So I have, I think, close to 50 calls. I have close to 50 $10 calls in the stock.
Oh wow. Well, do you remember what you paid for them?
74 cents.
Do you know what they're worth now?
It's $9, something like that.
Oh my gosh. Well done.
We're moving some size here. Okay. So here's the question that I wanted to ask the chat, and so I wanted to hop on for a second.
Yeah.
Does Ford have room to run? How would everybody handle this trade? So imagine you're me. You're in Ford. My average price in the stock is $8.64. That's right around what the price of the stock was when we went ahead and we bought the calls. We bought calls that are expiring in January 2022 at the $10 strike. And because the stock has had such a bull run, it had one earlier in the year. It has a second one right now. Clearly, how would you manage the trade?
Great question to the chat. Chat, drop what you think in there. I can, you know what I would do.
Yeah,
it's easy for me to say because it's not my money, but I would sell half.
That's sort of a decent avenue.
I would sell half those calls. I would sell 25 of your $10 Ford calls is what I would do.
Because that momentum on the chart just looks so juicy, though. That's why I'm so tempted to just let it in there and run.
You can do that. Half? You can do that with the other half.
Oh right? Man. Oh, the chat is mixed, baby.
Chat saying, well, so we're seeing you start selling calls against it. yeah, start selling calls against yourself. Hey, get some income while you're at it. Might as well. I mean, I don't think Luke wants to hedge. I don't think that's the question here.
The question is, am I taking the money and running, or am I letting this effort ride?
Yeah, hedging is not on the table.
Or somewhere in between.
Hedging is not on the table here.
See, I sort of like what Grant's saying, which is reduced by a third.
Okay. Oops.
But this week, Spencer, if you look at that Ford chart, this has been the best trading week of my life.
Really?
Yes. In like a pretty, not just that. Look at IWM too. I own my biggest position right now out of everything.
You just said was Ford.
It was sorry. Okay, Ford is individual stock.
Okay.
ETFs. It's like sizable. The majority of assets are in ETFs, right?
Good boy.
Look. Yeah. Look at IWM.
Dude, we were waiting for this breakout. How many times did we talk about this range on pre-market prep on every show? It was look at the range.
I might actually own more SPY than IWM.
I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't buy this a couple of days ago. I damn well should have. That was dumb.
All right.
Yes, this. I mean, where is there? What is it to say? We're at all-time highs.
So SPY is my largest position. IWM is the second largest, but they're about even. And that SPY, that IWM break, with that being a huge position, huge.
You want to compare the here? Let's just compare the two. Right?
I mean, it's so much right this week. Another one. You want another one that I'm in, Spency?
Yeah.
VYGVF.
Voyager.
Sponsor of this show. But I'm in that stock. Look at that stock this week, Spencer.
Okay.
Again, another heater. It's like all the stars aligned to me, and I'm going to give you one more, Spence, for this week. Okay,
Right.
so there's Voyager.
There's Voyager. There. Ooh.
Yeah, it's another heater. That's what I'm saying. I'm just spitting fire, and then look at CELH.
Celsius. Let's see. I was looking in Celsius.
All the stocks that I talked about, just this was their week.
Okay.
Whew.
So, you know,
ATH.
we always say on Pre-Market Prep, sell your peanuts when the circus is in town. You're having an amazing week. If you don't lighten
double
up,
down.
Yeah, that's right. No, in all seriousness, if you don't lighten up here, I think you're making a little bit of a mistake.
Okay.
At least a little bit. Right?
Yeah. I'm still on AMC. Is that good?
Sure. It's fine. Yeah. But in all seriousness, okay, let's go back to the question at hand. It was Ford. What does Luke do with the Ford calls? Can we get a survey in the chat? Rohan or Mitch or AB or whoever's watching this, I can't do it myself right now. Can we get a survey in the chat? And let's make the options do nothing, right? Let's make it hold. We'll make it sell everything. We'll do sell a third, and we'll do sell half. We'll make those the 4 options, and we'll make a poll in the YouTube chat right now, and then let's see what comes of it. Is that fair?
Yes.
All right. Somebody will make that poll, and then we will.
I like what Kurt said. Kurt said rip a third.
Yeah. That's an option.
An option.
That's an option. You want to ask our next guest what they would do if they're in this position?
Yes.
All right. We can get them on here in a second, and then somebody will start that poll.
I do have to hop onto a 12:30 call though.
Well, you have a call, yeah. So I want to let you go do that, but
but can I be invited back on a regular basis?
You can come on. Yes. Do you want us to like?
I would love to come from noon to 1 every day again. What's so funny?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay.
What?
Yeah, I didn't realize
have
you
some freaking fire going on right now.
I didn't realize you wanted to do that, but I guess now that you're back to more normal work stuff, I guess.
Yeah, it's sort of hard to sell something for $300 million, Spencer. It takes some work. Okay. I'm done with that. Now I got some free time.
I didn't know. All right, we will have you back. We can get you back on a regular basis.
All right, so Wednesday at next Thursday at noon. Fintech Awards next week. So I'm in New York Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
All right.
I'll be back Thursday.
All right. Hey, he's the boss. You know what I mean?
Wait, no, can I?
Yes, you can do it.
If you got something going on, I don't want to screw it up.
We got nothing going. We do have some guests booked next Thursday, but it ain't no thing. So,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thursdays at noon, everyone. You heard it here first. Luke Jacoby, Hot Stocks Luke, will be back on this show talking about whatever he YOLO'd this week, and he's having a great week. So, nice job, Luke. Congratulations.
All right, thanks, Spency.
Go take your call.
Some heaters.
We got some heaters. Don't walk away with the headphones, please. We need those. Thank you. Let's get AB back on the show. And while we're doing that, I'm going to bring on our first guest today. Good job, Luke. You did great, man. You did great. John Ehrlichman. I see him here backstage. Can we get John on the show? There he is. There he is. Good afternoon, sir. How are we doing today?
Hey, I'm good. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, indeed. So let me put that question to you. So we just had my boss here on the show, and he's got what do you say? He has 50 Ford call options at $10 strike that expire in January. I don't know when he bought those, but whatever. He's up a lot of money in them is the point. What would you do with any big gainer like that? Would you you sell all? You let it ride? You sell half? What would you do?
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm the guy who covers the markets. I'm not the guy who makes the predictions on the markets. So just a full disclosure there.
Okay.
But I think I feel like there has been a strong, I don't know about you. I feel like there's been a strong sentiment shift with Ford. On like the TV show I do this morning, like we were already talking about why people are loving Ford again. And, I don't know that it necessarily has to be a Tesla versus a Ford story. But I think we knew that companies were going to be all in on EV. And I think that people see a good enough roadmap from Ford right now and some pretty good recovery performance that they've felt great about the stock. So, to answer your question, like the shares trade at what, like 19.5 right now. I know, at least I know with Bloomberg, like the average call right now is that the stock is going to be at least 18 a year from now. So I think the question becomes whether or not Ford can continue rising, but I don't think people are going to step away from this story, even if Tesla steals more spotlight, and which is kind of cool. Like I think we all want to see what every automaker is going to do in the future.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. So wait, we asked you on here today, John, and AB is here with me as well. You tweet a lot about crypto and tech. Yeah. What AB just said he's been waiting for a time to get back in. I think, right? You were waiting. You're not in any cryptos. Is that you're waiting for?
Yeah, I had some Ethereum. I ended up selling some for some profits. I took all my positions off the board essentially, but I still love Ethereum long term. I guess I've just been kind of waiting for some sort of a dip to get back in. But at the end of the day, I don't think that's one of those positions where I think I'd be interested in just buying and holding for a very long time. So I'm not sure how much it really matters to wait for a dip.
And I think that, I think the question with crypto is when you have people who are, it's such an unusual time. You have this big group of people who are committed to a new asset class, and I suppose there is a component of those people who are in and out. But longer term, I think you guys hear it all the time. They are deeply committed. Right, they're the buy and hold crowd. So then, what are the drivers? I'll tell you what I notice in covering crypto from more of the mainstream day to day, where it's got to find some real estate in the coverage next to stocks and these big corporate stories and everything else.
Yeah.
Anytime there is more validation, I always say, in your own life, don't worry about the validation. Charge ahead. Everybody trusts you. Go forward. But in the world of investing, confidence does matter. And I think up until the last couple of years, there was a need for Wall Street to show some love to the crypto world. There just was. And whenever now there is, something where you poke holes in arguments surrounding different parts of the crypto ecosystem, you will see reactions. Sometimes they're quick. I think more so though, you just see momentum when there are positive validations. So, whether it's Elon clarifying his stance, whether it's more hedge fund titans who are explaining their thesis buying, owning crypto, whether it's every time we're now going to talk about a new ETF that's launching, it's almost creating this validation level in the market. So, nobody tries to time the market, but I just think that, if it's still in the Wall Street population, like a minnow, you know what I mean? It's hard to say over the next 5. I mean, I think the bigger question is all the other cryptocurrencies that will go lights out and right back down over the course of a trading day.
Do you roll your eyes every time you see some billionaire famous hedge fund guy being I don't understand, shaking my fist, I don't understand crypto, Bitcoin is a scam? Do you roll your eyes at that? I do.
Well, the thing is that in my side of the business, historically, you get titans of industry as guests and you ask them questions, and then the headlines that come from those interviews in some circles is a job well done, right? So if you can just get someone to say something dramatic about anything,
sure.
That's kind of how financial journalism works sometimes. I'm not saying it's a gotcha moment, but we sometimes get into a situation where someone says amazing things about some kind of investment and other people trash it, and we don't even ask the question of, okay, well, how deeply or intimately familiar are you with it? And I think that there's a reason, especially in crypto, that people who have long been in it and have a good track record get a lot of traction, because I think it is fair to say that for the average Wall Streeter, they still have only spent a small amount of time looking at it. Do I roll my eyes? I think back to the Jamie Dimon comments that like the market really got hot and bothered about at the same time. And you guys know this, right? Like he's saying that, and there are parts of these arguments that you can understand. But at the same time, JP Morgan is a monster and a company that was never going to get left behind on all things crypto related. So like they're simultaneously, they've got teams that are working in the crypto community, just as their fearless leader is, saying whatever he was previously saying about it. So instead of rolling my eyes, I almost take it with a grain of salt. But I will say that the problem with that world is it still does threaten a lot of the traditional ways of thinking and doing business. Like I'm joining you guys from Toronto in Canada, where, if you asked any bank CEO today, what do you think of crypto? How hard are you betting on Bitcoin? They would be so cautious in their language just because they have to think through all of these ramifications of like, if I say this, what are the pieces that then play out from there? As I said, because the validation, as soon as like a bunch of bank CEOs start saying, absolutely, we're all in crypto, that's actually another bullish side and more validation. And then for the regulators, like you think about the regulators, because I think like which this also becomes this momentary pause for crypto. Oh, this regulator in this country is saying we're banning it or we got problems with it. And then you see these like momentary dips and people refresh. What the disconnect in that, what I find is like, it feels like most legitimate people in the world of crypto, whether they are building platforms or whatever it might be, like they are all asking the regulators to have a good, deep conversation around this. I think from their perspective, there's never as much tension as the headline would suggest, but we're getting to this point where regulators are going to play an important role, but the asset class is getting so big that I think you have to look at that and you have to say, okay, can a regulator at this point just full out say we're just going to stay out of this area? So, this is the tricky part of the whole thing, and I think it's exciting. Like I don't know about you guys, I've been covering financial markets for now more than 2 decades. I'm dating myself, but like it is electric right now, and I love that.
Yeah, John, I was going to say,
and building together. Yeah.
I think we'd be remiss to not, just this is your first time coming on our show, just asking about, give us a little background on like how you got into covering the financial markets. I mean, when you were in school, was this something you knew you always wanted to do? I've become very familiar with your Twitter account. I know a lot of people watching our stream also, have found you through Twitter. So I'm just curious kind of like about your background, how you got into covering the financial markets, et cetera.
Yeah. So when I was finishing college, like I did an economics degree in school, and so I knew I wanted to do something business related. I was at that time, I'm where I am now, which is Toronto, and there still wasn't a CNBC, but they launched a channel here, and I was part of that team, and I'm now part of that same channel, which actually is Bloomberg's partner. I spent a lot of years at Bloomberg when I was in New York. I moved originally for the channel that I'm with now. Ended up moving over to Bloomberg and was covering the market. Like, look, I love the stuff. It's really great. It's exciting to cover. And one of the interesting things in my transition was that after the financial crisis, and like, I kid you guys not, who wanted to, I mean, these days we're all pretty lucky, right? We can talk about, generally speaking, everything gaining value over time. You probably could throw a dart over the last year and a half and do relatively well with whatever it was you were investing in. Financial crisis is a good reminder that there are real struggle points in the markets. And even at Bloomberg, we were looking at areas of growth. Like, what is the interesting area? And from that, the show, formerly called Bloomberg West, now called Bloomberg Technology, Emily Chang hosts it still to this day, does a great job with that. That was like an opportunity for Bloomberg to put a flag in the ground in San Francisco. There was no daily show at that time. And so I was out in San Francisco helping to cover that. And, the Twitter account stuff really happened because I'd be covering like literally quarterly earnings. And you'd want to tweet about what Google or Facebook or Twitter or Apple, whatever they were reporting that. And it was just, I'm looking at these top line numbers and they're just astounding. And you're like, I'm just, how do you explain this? And I just said, you know what? I'm going to let the numbers speak for themselves, because the numbers do tell some pretty dramatic stories. So that's how I got into the tweeting stuff. And, you know, I still love the dynamics of the technology companies just because they are so dominant. And now we've got this new layer with crypto, which is equally interesting to me. Like the whole Web3 world is really interesting.
John, do you have like a favorite like emerging technology right now? Or an emerging industry? Like it's something that excites
NFT.
you.
Yeah, the NFT world excites me a lot. Like nothing more than that, only because of the use case opportunity. Like, you know, I appreciate the daily trading that's happening and the collectors that have embraced that world. But I'm as interested, like you guys, right? We're covering finance. Finance is changing rapidly. And the media business is potentially going to change because of this new world. So that really excites me. Like, and that everybody's trying to figure out what happens with, you know, blockchain case studies. And I think NFTs really, and I love creators too. Like I do a lot of interviews with celebrity entrepreneurs and stuff like that. I just like that we're all kind of swimming, literally, we're all starting together in this. It's super exciting. I don't think there's anything that I'm more excited right now about than what's going to happen in the NFT world, without a doubt. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and John, I gotta thank you personally, because some of these tweets, I had them pulled up a second ago. I'll pull it back up. I love these type of tweets that you just essentially compare the returns of different stocks. And I actually wrote an article off of one of your tweets that was talking about how Domino's Pizza had like the best returns out of all these companies. And that article performed pretty well traffic wise. So that idea came from you.
So that means you owe John like a commission or something. I don't know.
Something, maybe a Domino's pizza. I don't know if they.
I don't know. Yeah, Domino's. Do they have that?
Do they have that in Toronto? I assume so.
I don't know.
Yeah, they have it. Well, you know, it was funny. I don't know about your experience with the app. I don't want to knock Domino's, but there was a period early when they were rolling out the app. Remember when they said like you can literally find out what stage of the pizza making process they're in right now? And I would sometimes look at the app. Sometimes I'd be like, I'm like, is this the real deal, guys? Domino's, are you is this guy actually, does he have the tomato sauce in his hand right now? But no, it's true. They've been phenomenal. And I think that's true too. Like, I think we can get sidetracked by the big tech names and we miss those other stories. You started the convo by talking about like Ford. I embrace those ideas of companies that are reinventing themselves. Domino's did a lot of it through technology. So, you know, when we can highlight and showcase how companies stay alive too, that's cool too.
There is a long-running debate between myself and a couple guys on our news desk about, is Domino's a technology company? I refuse to admit that it is.
No.
Even though if you Google the phrase Domino's technology company, you will find 104 headlines saying it is. I say otherwise because they make pizza, but this is a thing that the street likes to do.
I mean, really, if they didn't have the pizza, there really would be no Domino's. So that might end the case. But you know, like this comes up with like, I'll tweet about Tesla stuff, and then there's like a whole subculture of debate over whether Tesla's a technology company or not, which I totally embrace. People having that conversation, I think it's great, and I think we could continue to debate it. It's just that what Tesla is kind of building for the next 15 years is pretty epic. And at a certain point, you know, you could make the argument we won't even like start with Tesla as a car company, but that's probably a conversation for another day.
Right. That's like the biggest bull case that people make for Tesla. It's like, oh, you know, it's not a car company. It's, you know, whatever. But yeah, John, the other thing that I love about your Twitter is I feel like as, you know, as we cover the financial markets, there's so much going on day in and day out that we get kind of lost in the mess. And what you do on Twitter is you'll share, you know, like historical tidbits. Like I remember a couple months ago, it was like on this day, the first Apple computer debuted and a picture of the Apple computer. And it's cool to be kind of like taken back to those times because, you know, like I said, we're just so used to day in and day out talking about this stock is up 10%, this stock is down 10%. So it's cool to kind of like get those historical tidbits.
I just think that inspiration is important and context is important. And, you know, I think a lot of us and society as a whole is becoming more entrepreneurial. So you got to have a little of that inside of yourself just to keep going and moving forward. And a lot of these businesses, you know, whether it's Elon or any of these big technology companies, started in a very modest place. The you know, the history points help to tell that. But I like to do that during earnings season too, because as you guys know, like Wall Street's got, you know, the attention span of a gnat. And like you might have to build a storyline for Netflix being down that lasts for about 16 minutes before it changes. So, you know, if we can show the evolution of these companies and how quickly they've changed, sometimes that's the goal behind what I'm doing on Twitter. Because, like, you know, I'm not a hot take guy because, you know, I think that is like that's great. There's a good, robust dialogue around that. But I'm just constantly amazed by the companies that break through and then they build these moats. And those moats are important. Sometimes, you know, that builds a strong investment case for you. Sometimes it's a tension point, as we have seen with, you know, companies like Facebook. Are they, you know, stifling innovation? So it's a good conversation piece, too.
Okay, so maybe you don't have any hot takes on stocks, but give us a hot take on something before as we let you go here. Just leave us with a hot take. It could be on anything. Leave us with a hot take on food.
Mine's that cheese is overrated.
Ooh, good one. I like it. I know. I'll put you on the spot.
Well, I was okay. No. Let's stay with food. So I was just looking at the numbers on Uber today because Uber Eats as a business, like I guess Uber launched, call it 2009, 2010 range. And then Uber Eats about 5 years after that. And I was just looking at the numbers today in the delivery revenue. It's I know there's other stuff like they're delivering diapers and all sorts of things beyond food now, but it's still like, you know, Uber Eats is like a pandemic winner. And I think that business this quarter was generating something like $25 million a day. And 5 years ago, it was like less than $1 million a day. So I'm just amazed at this like Uber Eats business that is growing like a weed within the larger Uber business. I think it's one of the reasons why like a lot of analysts are still pretty hot on Uber, even though the reaction today was a little bit mixed. So my hot take would be like, you know, Uber Eats, something to talk about.
All right, we'll put that on our radar. John, thank you for joining us today. Like I said, I've been a big fan on your Twitter for a while, so it's good to get you on our show. Hope to get you on again soon. Anytime you have something you want to talk about, hit us up. We'd love to have you back on.
Thanks a lot, John.
Okay, guys. Thanks for having me. Have a great weekend.
All right. My hot take is actually going to be related to John's. I think that Uber Eats / DoorDash business model should be like illegal. I think it's like so bad. I think it's so messed up. I think what they do to these small businesses is so freaking terrible.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not really a fan of the business model there. And yeah, I mean, Uber has been historically like not a great stock. So I'm not bullish on Uber, on Uber Eats, on Grubhub, on DoorDash, any of those companies. But like John said, it is interesting to kind of look at the revenue numbers, see what's going on. Maybe he's right. Maybe it's something to talk about.
Maybe we should start a new segment because we're creating this new show from scratch on the fly. Hot Take Fridays.
Hot Take Fridays.
Okay,
I love it.
Your hot take was cheese is overrated.
Yeah, I'm not saying cheese is like
that is a reasonably hot take.
Everyone like freaks out over cheese and they put it on everything, and it's like sometimes something will be like covered in too much cheese, and I'm like, that doesn't even look appetizing to me.
Okay, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
The other thing when talking about John about these like historical tidbits we were talking about, one of my favorite things, and he mentioned that there's, you know, these storylines are important, right? And everyone thinks like, oh, Apple, once it founded, whatever. If you invested in Apple in like 1985, you'd have been sitting on a loss for 16 years before, finally in 2001, you'd be in the green. And then, of course, you'd be looking at great returns from 2000 on. But I think that's important to keep into perspective that, like, a lot of times, even if you find a company that's very young and that has great potential, the stock price might not reflect it for a while. So, I'm not saying necessarily, some of your positions that you're down, just hold them, and eventually they'll be Apple. But if you do your due diligence on a company and you love it and you invest in the stock and it ends up not performing the way you want it, maybe that's not always time to get out. I don't know.
I would just remember, just please be mindful of your own risk tolerance. We got an email last night. I'm not going to put the guy on the spot or anything, but we got an email last night from a fan, a reader. I'm not sure what you want to call it. And he's very upset because he's very long cannabis stocks, and he was very upset about the performance in cannabis stocks this year. And I responded, I was like, "Hey man, I'm with you. We're in the same boat here. And if this is too much for you, then frankly, you are either overexposed or you have too much risk on the table. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong.
You can be too early too.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with saying, okay, I've gotten over my skis here. I've got too much money on this. It's affecting my life. I need to take some money off the table, even if it's at a loss. Fine, that's okay, right? Just be mindful of your own tolerance for risk, right? Because I think we all can forget that. It's all fun and games when it's going up. When it's going down, it's not as fun anymore.
So I'll do a new segment right now. What's dragging my portfolio today? That would be Take-Two Interactive, down about 3%. My portfolio is in the red. It looks like majority coming from that position as well as Blackstone.
We're still in Blackstone?
Yeah, that's my boy Ross's stock.
Yeah.
So,
How are we doing in BX?
In BX, let's see. I am total return up 1.75%. Today's return down 0.191%.
Okay.
So overall, I'm up $12 on it. But I don't know. I mean, I got a dividend pending too. Look, I got $5. I got a $5 dividend payment coming my way for owning around 5.
Are you going to reinvest that or just cash or
5 shares of, I don't know, maybe I'll use it to buy lunch or something, buy a block of cheese.
Good idea.
All right, what's everyone else watching today? We've got about 5 minutes till our next guest, Tony Benson. Let us know in the chat what stocks y'all are watching.
I wanted to pull up the ARK Invest email that I got from last night because it's been a long time since we've looked at what Kathy's done. Should we take a look-see?
Yeah, sure.
Because the last couple of days, it's not often that Kathy sells a stock in a downtrend. But let me show you here. This is from my email. Can you see my information? No. All right. This is from the email that I get this every night whenever it comes out, like 8 p.m. or whatever.
Whoa, Disney to shut down ESPN Classic?
Yeah, that was out yesterday.
What the hell?
Okay. What jumped out to me here? Second day. This is for the ARKK, the flagship fund. Second day in a row, they sold more than 1 million shares of Zillow, ticker Z. And not just Zillow. Let's go down to the ARKF, their financials fund, their fintech fund. Look, they sold 1.4 million shares of Open Door too. You don't see them buy and sell in million lots on any given day too often. It happens, but not every day. I thought that was very interesting. They seem to be lightening up their exposure to the real estate. I'm not sure what you would call that.
Speaking of real estate, have you looked at Airbnb at all today?
Yes, it is. Is it still ripping?
It is absolutely. Well, I mean, it's kind of like settled down, but it's up almost 13%. We've talked about Airbnb.
Do we want to see where I'm long from? Here, you want to play a game? What's bringing up my portfolio today?
What's bringing up your portfolio today?
Yeah. Well, because yours is getting dragged down.
Well, yeah, I mean,
no.
Wait, hold on.
Wait, Luke, we have
breaking news.
Wait, Luke, we have a result.
Ford's bringing up the portfolio today.
Luke, we have a result on the poll. 54% said to sell half. Okay.
I like buying stocks that are up like 13% on the day. So I just bought some Airbnb while it was up 12.5%. Someone told me buy high, sell higher. So You go ahead and give that a whirl.
All right, wait. I'm looking at my Airbnb cost basis because I don't actually know. So, but Luke is here. He's back. I think he's bored today. I'm not quite sure why.
DWAC's also bringing down my portfolio today, down 2.6%. Luke, what do we think about DWAC?
So the question that I have for everybody is, do you think of DWAC as more of a value stock or a growth stock?
The answer to that is yes.
It's a value stock or growth stock. We're talking about DWAC. It's pretty beta. But again,
how's the revenue? How's the balance sheet look?
The balance sheet looks good in the recent SPACing process. They have a lot of intangible assets. What do we mean by that? Not hard warehouses or equipment. They have a brand name. That's a big intangible asset. So again, I think the question to the chat is this a value stock or a growth stock?
Chat, what say you?
What about this one? Spencer, Workhorse is down 8% today. Are we buying the dip in Workhorse?
No,
Spencer loves the Workhorse CFO.
Why not?
He's not the CFO. He's out.
Why don't we like Workhorse?
Wait.
I thought we liked all electric vehicle type companies.
Like Ford.
Maybe this is a trade here. It seems like we've had a number of executives on our show in the last year that are no longer at the companies. so I don't know. Hey, Planted Cyclist says he was born and raised in AC. That's awesome. I've never actually met anyone who's from AC. I'd love to know what that's like.
Do you know the song Atlantic City?
Of course. I'm from New Jersey, man. Yeah, we blew up the chicken, man.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah. All right. Tony Benson's here. We'll bring him on in a second here. I'm trying to log into my Fidelity account, and I'm keep getting the password wrong. I don't know what my Airbnb cost basis is. I know it's lower. What's Airbnb? What are we trading at right now?
Do you want to know what my cost basis is?
Is it 150? No, 200. What are we at right now? We're at 200. Is your cost basis 200?
201.38.
Oh, Jesus, you're already down.
Did
you throw in a market? Did you just throw in an order and just got whatever?
Yeah. Well, how else are you supposed to buy stocks?
That's a great question, man.
I'll just share my Robinhood real quick. I got no shame. Airbnb. This is one that we've talked about this before. I've talked a lot about it with Chris Capri. Chris Capri, was saying he likes this stock as like one of those potential stocks that really has like a multi-bagger, like has the potential to shape an industry, carve out that moat like John was talking about. As you can see, I've traded it, bought calls 165. I should have just stuck with that, but it's kind of been off my radar. On my radar today again because it's up 12%. I know this can go down in the short term, but my thesis is, hey, look, even if we go down in the short term, 10%, say whatever, I feel confident that this stock is gonna be higher in 5-10 years from now than it is today. So I don't mind buying at 201 after a strong earnings report. As you can see right there, just got in 201.38.
Do you want to know my cost basis? 153.19.
Did you buy it right after this chart's interesting because it spiked and it went all the way up to, let's see, 216 according to Robinhood. Probably not accurate, but then all the way down to a low of 134. So I don't know. Airbnb's it's like any other company. It's not perfect. It's got problems, but do I think they'll continue to make a lot of money? Do I think they'll continue to grow? Yeah. I'm
up 31% in my Airbnb.
I think the fees thing is like the biggest thing they got to figure out. That people get pissed that you like look at a Airbnb and it says it's going to be $100 a night, and then by the time you finish paying it, it's like 180 a night.
Yeah.
It's like just tell you the price of total after fees right off the bat, so you're not surprised at the end by it. That would be like if I were in charge of Airbnb, the first thing I'd do. That way it's not a problem. I don't know.
I don't know why they haven't put you in charge yet. All right, enough of that.
I'll apply. All right, let's go ahead and bring our next guest on, see what he thinks about Airbnb. Tony Benson from Wealth Builders HQ. Tony, how you doing on this Friday?
I am good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Cannot complain.
We're just happy it's Friday. Speak
for yourself, Spencer.
Super convincing.
I'm very happy it's Friday, believe me. Okay, Tony, what are you watching today? You're always watching. You've always got a watch list a mile long. So
you?
Don't you? I feel like you usually have a watch list that's like a mile long.
Well, I guess it's all relative. Depends on perspective. So,
all right. So what have you traded today, if anything?
let's go. Let me share my screen here real quick.
Do you like Airbnb long term?
I was just bringing that up since you had mentioned and wanting to know what I thought about it.
I do. I'm very curious.
So I have it. I brought it up on my charts here. Let me move this stuff out of the way.
Also, wait, real quick. Sorry to cut you off. I gotta address this in the comments. Igor is saying, "I like how you have both VTI and VOO." Igor, VOO is essentially the S&P 500. VTI is
He's calling you out.
It's the total stock market, so it has the small caps in there too. They're different funds. They're not the same thing.
Calling you out.
I know.
That's okay.
I love it.
Anyway, Airbnb. Airbnb. What do we got?
So you want to know my opinion on long term?
Yeah, sure. Or the short term.
Or short term. I just bought
Yeah,
some shares.
I'm purely a technical trader, so I don't do a whole lot of long term stuff.
Yeah.
And when I think long term, for me, long term is 1 to 2 years, not 5 to 10. So
sweet. Okay, tell us about it.
It's a little hard for me to give you an opinion on that since I don't really do that. But short term, I mean, it looks like it wants to rally up to that 210 area again, 210, 220, somewhere in there.
Let's go. I got in at the right time then.
Where's it at in the intraday? This is just an end of day chart, but whoops. Where'd my screen go? Here it is. A, B, and B. Is it up a bunch today? Oh, okay. Never mind. That's what I thought you guys were talking about it being way high.
Wait, do you buy this because it has your initials, A, B, and B?
No, is there a ticker that's just AB? Because I'll buy that right now.
Yeah, I think it's Alberline.
Yeah, Alliance Bernstein.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Is
anyway, okay. Okay, so you like the setup here for the intermediate term, right?
Yeah. Of course, it's already at. I mean, obviously, it's already up here. It's right there so far today. So there could be another 10% in it. I mean, and then who knows? I mean, these things are crazy right now. I mean, it's like you guys talked about Carl last week, and it was just insane to see a stock go from 180 to 520 and
we all saw that coming. That was no big deal. I mean, we all knew that was going to happen. But
he was the guy with the $260 puts or calls. Sorry, calls. No, he wasn't.
Tony, also, I'm sorry. I know you work with Rob, so I introduced you from Wealth Builders HQ. But can you tell us about Pattern in a Flash real quick?
Yeah, it's basically it's a training tool for technical analysis. I got it up here. I'll just a quick little tour. Essentially, and this started from my own frustration 21 years ago, not being able to recognize patterns. So I created the flashcards, which were basically just a training mechanism to train my eyes to see the patterns quickly and easily. Just like, as kids use flashcards to learn math, right?
Yep.
So I still got the
same concept basically. So this was just developed out. It's basically just a tool. If you click on the link for that particular pattern, it's just going to bring up digital flashcards. So it's just a training tool, basically. It's a little slow right now, but that was the first part. That was initially what started the concept. This is taking a minute to load for some reason. So essentially, it's, again, just like flashcards. So you can just flip through these and look at the different patterns and see them and basically train your eyes to see them. And then there's also a little over 8 hours of video in here as well. What's that?
If you had to pick one favorite pattern to trade.
I've asked him this before.
All right, well.
But I don't remember the answer, so it's okay.
You just saw it. It's head and shoulders. Well, because there's reversal patterns, right? And then there's continuation patterns. And then you got candlestick patterns. I mean, there's about 30 or 35 patterns in here. As far as on the reversal side, definitely head and shoulders, candlestick patterns, an engulfing pattern of Morningstar. On the continuation side, symmetrical triangles, hands down. There's not much candlestick continuation patterns, but so yeah, it depends on which one you're talking about. But those are my favorites. Just seem to be the most consistent. The head and shoulders it seems to be very consistent. Same thing with the symmetrical triangle. So.
All right, so Tony, I got a question. Can we pull up Snapchat's chart real quick and take a look at this chart to see if we can see any pattern forming? Because we obviously had the big gap down after the company reported a bad earnings report, and then the downtrend has continued since then. So we have not seen a strong, reversal straight after the bad earnings.
Where are we right now? Because I have an order sitting out there at 52.
You have an order at 52. We're at 53. So the reason I am asking about right now is because it's actually up about 2% today, and I'm trying to figure out how can I identify okay, this is a sign of a reversal coming versus, okay, this is just a good day in a longer downtrend?
It looks like, I mean, this is not really technically a pattern, but you've probably all seen flags or pennants, right?
Yep.
Which is right here on the left-hand side. There's a beautiful little flag pennant type of pattern where you get this huge momentum move to the upside and then sideways for a little bit, and then it continues. That's what I see here, just upside down. So as of right now, well, it's not an up yet. If it breaks this low, here's where the confirmation of the pattern, if it is going to continue lower, is if it breaks that area right there, which actually maybe there's some pretty solid support there, about 51.
No, that's what I said. I said, fill me at 52. I'll stop myself out at 51. That's my plan if I can ever get in.
That looks solid to me. Just
nice.
Glancing at it real quick. The only way I would be bullish on this is if it forms some kind of reversal pattern, a bullish reversal pattern, like a double bottom, inverted head and shoulders, anything that says that, okay, this 51 is building a base. Does that make sense? I'll give you an example. NEM.
Sort of what I'm
This is one that has been doing that recently. You know, we've dropped off from 74 down to 53. Yeah, Newmont.
This is Newmont. Okay, let me get up on this.
It's got that solid support there, about 53. And as you can see here, it came down and danced around it after a big drop, and then rallied once, came back, and we've got the double bottom forming right now. And this thing's up, I think, a couple bucks today, or $1.50 and a half of them. So yeah, it's up about, where was it? I know I have it on my list here.
We're at 55. We're at 55.78 right now, up about $1, 1.7%.
Yeah, so it's right up about 56. So this is what I would look for, that type of behavior at least, or that type of pattern on Snapchat.
Yeah, I mean, I hear a lot of sometimes like technical traders saying, okay, we need to look for 2 or 3 green candles in a row, daily candles in a row, to really show that we've got momentum moving back up on the upside, that it's not just a, I don't know, some people call it like a dead cat bounce if a stock's in a downtrend, but then has a day where it's up. We talk about a lot. Nothing goes straight up. Nothing goes straight down. Well, some things go straight down. But for the most part, you'll have days like this, even in a downtrend. So I'm sitting on the sideline on Snap right now. Well, I'm in the position, but I'm not going to sell it or add to it. But if we continue to get down to that $51 level, I'll consider adding some, just lowering my costs and hoping for that move up. Anything else setting up nicely for you right now, Tony?
Well, what I did, I know Spencer asked right out of the gates about what I'm trading. KHC just triggered an entry for me today.
Oh, I have PTSD from this one, but all right.
Wait, what is KHC?
Kraft Heinz. Yeah.
Kraft
this
Heinz.
is one of Warren Buffett's biggest holdings right now.
Yes.
Oh, is it?
Fun fact.
I was just watching a documentary by him the other day.
He's a pretty decent investor.
So
yeah, he's okay.
we can do better, right, gang?
Yeah,
Except that whoever bought the Shibu.
Yeah, right, exactly. Okay, so what do you see in Kraft Heinz here?
So let me go back to the daily. So going back to your question of what's my favorite pattern, inverted head and shoulders is what's here. And let me get a little bit bigger picture here. It's a little easier to see longer term. Let me clean up some of this stuff. So the head and shoulders is obviously a topping reversal pattern. Inverted head and shoulders just flipped over. That's the beauty of patterns. Even though there's 30 or 35 inside my tool, realistically, when you learn one, you just flip it over and it's the same thing. So you learn about 7 or 8 patterns and how to trade them. And like I said, there's videos in there, but that'll go through and explain these exactly, in detail. But basically, we've got the left shoulder here. I don't know if I don't have any round drawing tools, but left shoulder, and then the head, and then the right shoulder. So we've got a bullish reversal. And then the neckline, which is that black line right there, is the neckline. If it breaks above the neckline, then that's confirmation that the bullish reversal has taken place. And as of right now, this thing is doing that. You can see, let me make a little longer time on this. So based on that, and this is, and Spencer knows this, I'm very simple when it comes to trading. Setting up a trading plan is the neckline is there, the little trend line. If it breaks above there, we turn bullish. I put a stop just below that level, a target up here at 39, which is the measured move, which this is the beauty of patterns. And this is one reason I love head and shoulders. And I deleted that to get it out of the way. But when you measure from the peak of the head to the neckline, that's what we expect the stock to move if it breaks the pattern. So the target based on that would be actually up closer here, about 39.50. But there's some old support resistance right back in here. So I put the target at 39.15, just shy of that. If it keeps going, then I'll let it run. I picked up a few contracts. So if it gets there, I'll take out most of it and leave a little bit there just in case it keeps going. But that's essentially what we're looking for with this particular pattern, and it triggered the entry point. So now it's just a waiting game.
Now we wait
to see how far it goes.
Now we wait. All right. There's a few stocks from the chat that people want your takes on.
Okay.
Can you look at Pinterest for Shimigami? Shimigami wants you to look at Pinterest. What was good old Pins doing today? I know they had earnings, and the earnings weren't actually that terrible. I don't quite know what the reaction has been since they opened, but let's look at Pins.
What is it? P-N-T?
Pinterest.
P-I-N-S.
That's right. Drawing a blank on it.
Yeah, the earnings weren't bad. Low bar, but all right.
Yeah, so this is I haven't seen it for a while. Well, looking at it there as a descending triangle, another continuation pattern. So the trend that was in place, we look for it to break down, and obviously that didn't play out. So let me clean this up, get rid of it. I'm just going to get rid of a bunch of this junk. Where are they at intraday?
Good question.
Let's take a look.
Right now we're at 46.17.
Oh, it's up. Okay. So
Yeah,
obviously they came out with decent earnings. Blech.
It's up 5%, but it opened down. It opened basically at the low of the day. It basically went down all morning in the pre-market session and then came back, and all that comes out to a 5% gain from the based on the close. But
yeah. So the first thing I always do is, as you can tell, I'll go back and look at the entire history of a stock and just look at the chart, see where the major points are. I'm not looking for every little blip. Basically, I'm taking this, a 30,000 foot view, and then I'll just slowly bring it in to get a little tighter view. So there's the next major support level is 36. There's a little bit right in here, which obviously it bounced at just a little tiny bit right there. Not a whole lot of support there. So obviously it found it today. So then if it rallies back up, the next spot, the resistance level based on the old support is about 50. You'll probably just move that right up to 50. Nice little round number. So, I mean, as far as patterns go, not much. Could be, compared to the same thing as was Snapchat. But I mean, personally, I wouldn't do anything with this right now. I'd wait for it to see. Again, I've learned the hard way to be patient and wait for patterns to develop. So I don't trade things on a whim, or if you're a fundamentalist and you're looking at the fundamentals and you think it's worth this, that's a different story. But from a technical perspective, and as far as my trading style goes, I'm not looking at getting in anything or pulling the trigger on anything until there's some kind of good pattern that's formed that shows me now's the time to get in.
Well, let's do a few more here from the chat. What about Vuzi? V-U-Z-I. This is Vuzix. This is it's like an AR play, right? AR-VR play. I think they've been on the show before.
Yeah, they have
V-U-Z-I?
V-U-Z-I.
Oh,
yep.
V-U-Z-I.
V-U-Z-I. Yeah, we've had them on. They're an AR play, if memory serves.
I remember seeing this thing pop up at some point.
Yeah, you remember correct.
Well, obviously it likes $10. And just drop some lines on here real quick and get a little idea of what we're looking at. Have they come out with earnings already? That's the 8th. That's on Monday.
Yes.
It looks like either somebody knows something or somebody's excited about this thing for good earnings is what I'm guessing, because that is a lot of volume and a lot of momentum. I don't trade anything before earnings. I mean, I won't buy anything before earnings. So this is one from a technical analysis standpoint. We got a nice little double bottom type of pattern. It's not beautiful, but and it's obviously broken out above there. But anything above 1330, I'd be bullish on if it gets back above there. But then again, if earnings comes out and it's terrible, I mean, if you noticed Intel a couple weeks ago, it ran a whole bunch right before earnings, and then it got hammered 10 or 12% the next day after earnings came out.
Remember that.
So that's why I don't trade before earnings.
All right. Okay. So you really are hands off because of the earnings thing, but if let's just pretend if earnings was not if earnings already happened or earnings is not for a month, all right? What would you see in this chart otherwise?
I would see definitely a bolt. I mean, a bolt to the upside, this double bottom type of pattern, and to take off the volume, the momentum from there. I would expect it to continue to run. So again, if earnings wasn't coming out, I'd be looking at a bullish trade on this above that 1330 level, because you can see we've got some resistance here, little spots here where it's hit. In fact, maybe even adjust that up a tiny bit, 1350, and it looks like, based on what this thing's been doing over the last couple of weeks, these big moves, 1350 to 1570 could happen easily in a day. Put another level up right about there, about 20. So this is one I'd probably do two parts. If I was going to trade this, again, just ignoring earnings, I'd just put a stop slightly below this. And as you see me do this, Spencer, very, very simple. I just throw numbers in. There's where I'd put a stop just based on the chart.
1311.
So if it goes, if it breaks above 1350 and I get bullish, if it breaks back below that level, I got to get out at some point. Sometimes it's just you just got to grab it. It's hard to say. That's one of the biggest questions I get from all my students is, where do you put your stop? The only question that goes off in my head is, if I got long on this thing and it turns back over, at what point am I no longer confident in the bullish move? And you've got some intraday moves here. So I just go below some of the more recent moves, intraday moves, because obviously you can get stopped out intraday and then it takes off and rallies, and that's always frustrating. It just messes with your mind. But so I always put the stop in there first, and then of course come over to the calculator, and this is that's one of the other things that's inside patterns and flash, is a little risk reward calculator. So 1311, and we'll put a target in. I'm going to put it right there we'll just put it at 1550. And I just color code these things just so, because I do look at a lot of stuff. And
right.
I usually have a lot of different plans, because a lot of them will, you'll come together with a plan, but then nothing ever triggers.
Sure.
I'd say only about probably 5 to 10% of what I actually set up and plan for a trade never even triggers. Only 5 to 10% actually does. Like KHC. This is a list of 26 stocks that I filtered through the other day, about 250, knocked it down to 30 or 40 and narrowed it down to these 26. And then I've got only 12 that are actually, that I actually have plans on. So, holy cow, what did I just do?
It keeps your list. What, did we just get filled on something?
Was it Vuzi?
Yeah.
That's what we were just looking at.
VUZI.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
It's just showing my age, huh? Getting old. So was it 1371 was the entry point, right? Yep. Yeah. Okay. So this is just a simple trading plan. If we're looking at it from a pattern perspective, we got a little double bottom, built a nice little base. And that's where I don't get picky about names. I mean, you can call it a double bottom, triple bottom, whatever you want to call it. It built a nice little base here, about $10, and it launched. That's a good bullish sign. And then we've got this resistance there about 1350. If it breaks above there, odds are it's going to go bullish. So
this is another one for you I got. And I'm no patterns guy really, but if you pull up DD, if you can, DD Global, ticker DIDI. I mean, this is head and shoulders all day. All day.
Very similar picture, except they already came out with earnings, and obviously that was good. What did you say? Inverted head and shoulders?
On DD, DIDI? That's
DIDI.
Yeah, they were looking at it. What chart is that though? Because whatever company that is,
I was going to say that's a good eye, man. That was money.
No, that ain't it. That ain't it.
Definitely inverted head. When you said DD, I went DD like
like Dow DuPont. No, DIDI, DD Global. Yeah, that's confusing.
And that's why I love head and shoulders right there. I mean, even though it's earnings related, but still, inverted head and shoulders. The measure move is 690. Where did it go to? Right there. But let's go look at DD.
Yes,
DIDI.
DD Global, the Uber of China, and that's what I mean when I said head and shoulders. For the last couple of weeks, head and shoulders. What chart was I was on a daily. Yeah, the last month and a half or so. was what I was seeing. But you're the patterns guy, so you tell me.
Double bottom, inverted head and shoulders is going to be similar. I mean, it's you could call it either one of them realistically. And again, that's where I don't get too hung up on names because they're both reversal patterns, and just about any way you slice it, they're going to end up pretty close to the same anyway. So I used to get caught up in all that, the OCD stuff and being crazy, and it's like, nah, there's no need for that. Could also see it as an ascending triangle too. So, and again, doesn't really matter. So same thing here. We've got the resistance level here, which it actually broke out of that day right there. So we've got the midpoint, if you will, of it's essentially a double bottom, ascending triangle, inverted head and shoulders, whatever you want to call it. The midpoint there at about 17, it broke out of. And so far in the last week and a half, it's held that level. So this is one we can also do a measured move on. And I usually go inside a little more conservative here, but so that's about what the
wait. Yeah, hold on. Thank you, Patrick, in the chat. I'm not sure what chart this is. DD Global is at $8 right now. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm not sure.
Is it DIDI?
DIDI. I'm not sure what chart this is. Yeah.
That is weird. Okay.
Yeah, that is weird because that ain't the DD that I'm seeing on mine. Thank you, Patrick.
Well, where's
I didn't want to say anything, but I was like, that's what I'm looking at. Thank you.
Oh, you feel free. I mean,
but like I was like, wait a minute. I could have sworn I'm looking at the patterns. I'm not looking at the axis, and I could have sworn I saw something different. There we go. That's what I was trying to point out from the right there.
Okay. Okay, that's all the history there is then. That is interesting. Why is there? I don't know why. I mean, this is obviously a different service I use, but 11.4.
Tell them
if it hasn't updated.
Tell me to fix their data. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. That's super weird. Usually those guys are super clean, but who knows? Okay, yeah, this is a very different chart now.
Yeah. Okay, that's better. Thank you, Patrick Starr.
Okay, yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, don't feel free to call me out. Like I told you the other day, it's.
It's like I didn't think that was the chart that I was looking at, but whatever. Here we go. All right. Okay, head and shoulders. Now you see what I was seeing.
Yeah. Okay. That's a little better. The ascending triangle is not really. It's still kind of there, but I guess that's more of just a flat bottom than anything. But yeah, I think I'm just going to put a straight horizontal line on here, right there about 850. Whoops, little clicker going. And sometimes, and that's one thing I've learned. Wednesday night, we did one of my 1 hour classes for my subscribers, and they all, what about this? What about that? And I try not to force anything. And that's one thing is you can't force a pattern. It's like if any poker players in the room, you try to force a bad hand, then you're probably going to get beat. And trading's not much different. Finding patterns and trying to find something that may or may not be there. And I see the either double bottom. I mean, it's a inverted head and shoulders. It's kind of it's just sitting there going sideways now, essentially. So this is where it gets tricky. It's like, what do you do with this thing?
I don't know,
because I don't see. I mean, it's dropping right now. Obviously, there's not the next support levels down there about 730. So if it falls down to there and starts to bounce, then I'd be possibly bullish. I'd look for a confirmation day or two. Unless if it broke above the 850, then I'd be bullish up to the next resistance level there at 970. So, but as far as the really short-term stuff, I don't see. I mean, there's not really any candlestick patterns that are any big clues. If it break, yeah, I mean, nothing really jumps off the screen. Let's put it that way.
We'll do a couple more here. Anna Sco is asking about Macy's. We all know that ticker, M. We'll get that one right on the first try this time. And let's see what Macy's. I mean, besides the fact that it's going to Rip City, going to the moon, is there anything to say? I mean, if you go to the left far enough, you'll eventually find some relevant candles, I think. But you got to go back a ways to find it.
Well, now I'm really curious to see if it's just that one stock that's goofy on this, or if.
Well, let's find out because Macy's is
Okay.
Macy's
That one's
is at
accurate.
$30 right now.
Yeah, so this one has got the correct day. I don't know why that other one was off, but
That's weird.
that's not an all-time high, but it wouldn't
No,
be a
it's not.
surprise. The next level there is about 35. That's the next major point if it gets there. I mean, as far as patterns go, it's a cliff. It's climbing a cliff. I mean, there's not really a pattern per se there, except unless you get into candlesticks, and then you're talking about a tweezer top. Tweezer top's a reversal pattern, right? So you come up and have the shadows hit the exact same spot or very, very close. And candlesticks are great for a short term. And as you can see, I mean, it did it today. It came up and tapped that spot again, and now it's sold off. So for an intraday trade, that pattern can come in handy. But right now, especially, and if this thing closes lower, we'd have a bearish engulfing pattern. So if this thing continues to drop and it closes below the close of yesterday, so what's that, about 30.73? So if this closes below 30.73, then we have a bearish engulfing pattern along with basically tweezer tops, which is a bearish reversal pattern. So it will probably pull back to about that last resistance level. So that would be the target on a pullback from here, which would also be a potential bullish entry point if it holds that level. So if you like to trade short term, this could be a good trade where you're getting into it. This is something I'd look at possibly entering at the close of the day if it's down here at 30.60, 30.50, somewhere in there. Possibly picking up. They don't have earnings coming out. They already came out with earnings, right?
No, they're coming up here. They're coming up in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Oh, if we got a couple of weeks, then a 1 or 2 or 3 day trade or a week-long trade is no big deal. But yeah, if this thing closes at 30.60, 30.50, somewhere in there, I'd be picking up some short-term puts and looking for a drop to about 28.25, 29, somewhere in there. And then if it holds that level and starts to bounce from there, then I look at possibly switching and going to the bullish side and taking advantage of this continued momentum, hopefully. So,
all right. Tony Benson, Patterns in the Flash, will join us on Fridays at 1 o'clock to do what he just did. Whoa. That's better. Do what we just did for the past few minutes. Tony, we appreciate your time as always. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend, sir.
All right.
All right. AB, our next guest. Well, look at this view. That was weird. Our next guest has 2 jobs, right? He's got a day job and he moonlights as a NFT. What is the term here? Like influencer? Not quite sure.
Yeah, developer, creator, content.
Yeah.
We'll ask him what he likes to go by. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get Evan Mendoza on.
There he is.
Evan, welcome to the Benzinga live midday show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Good. So for those in our audience that may not be familiar with you, do you mind just introducing yourself? Kind of as Spencer said, you got a day job, you've got a night gig. What are you up to?
Yeah, so my name's Evan Mendoza. I play baseball with the St. Louis Cardinals, and I'm a part-time NFT artist. I really enjoy the space. Always been a creative person, so I feel like this is a perfect fit for what I'm passionate about.
So we'll get to the NFTs. We'll get to how you got into crypto and everything. But first and foremost, Spencer and I are both baseball fans. I'm actually from St. Louis.
Let's go.
Huge Cardinals fan. So
awesome. Best fans
glad
in baseball.
To get you. Yep. There you have it. Best fans in baseball. So what position do you play?
This past year, I've played predominantly shortstop at AAA. Been kind of a super utility guy, though. I played 2 games in center and at least 1 game at all infield positions. So
you're coming for Sosa's role essentially.
I played with Sosa in 2018. He's a great guy. He's very versatile as well. You never know. Next year could see me as that utility guy off the bench. Defensive replacement. You never know.
Kind of like what Tommy Edmonds doing right now.
Yeah, Tommy's a great player. I played with him back in 2018 in AA as well, and really, really solid player. Tommy is.
Wait, before we get to the NFTs, just real quick. For those who don't know, minor league baseball is like one of the craziest things. Like you see some like really weird stuff in the minor league baseball. There's crazy promotions. What's like the most crazy thing that you've seen for your time in the minor? Because it's like there's no holds barred. Like anything goes, right?
That's hard. I'd say we were in Little Rock, Arkansas, playing the Arkansas Travelers in AA. I was on the Springfield Cardinals at the time, and there was a Rolex giveaway inside. The crazy part, inside the infield dirt. It was dug out before the game. The Rolex box was put underneath the playing surface that we played on that night, and then after the game, I think the fans in the game had to pay like maybe $20 for a plastic spoon, and they had to use that spoon to dig out the dirt and try finding the Rolex box. Whoever found it, wins a Rolex.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So they destroy the infield after the game. Yeah. That's great.
That playing surface, it's safe to say that playing surface was not the best. So the grounds crew probably was like, yeah, do whatever you want, like as long as it makes money.
That's a great question, Spencer. I love
that. Is a good. I haven't gotten that one. That's a good one.
So okay, last question before we get on to the NFTs and crypto. Do you have any experience with the Oliver Marmol, the new Cardinals manager?
Yeah, he so we were a part of like an Instructs like mini camp in the off season around this time, and there's probably only like 5 to 10 of us that they kind of ship in the middle of the off season and just train with us to make sure that we're staying on our training regimen as when you're a little bit of a younger age, newly into the organization. And there was this time where Ollie kind of just showed up in a t-shirt and shorts and some athletic shoes. I think he just got done a workout, and we were doing some sprints. And without warming up or anything, he just kind of jumps in and starts running sprints with us. This was back in like 2018, I think. And I was like, who is this guy? Like, I obviously have never met the dude before. I was new to the organization. So I figured out like, oh, he's going to be the bench coach this next year for the big league team. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And just some conversations that I've had after that, it was really cool just to be able to see one of your coaches like take part of the activities that we do as well. Even though he was the bench coach at the time, like, he put in that effort. He understands. He also played as well. So like he understands how hard the game is. I think it's a really important factor to, keep in touch with the players, is to be able to work out with them.
There you go. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I was surprised at the end of the year when they,
very
parted ways with Shilp, but hey, new era coming in. All right, Evan. So take us through the timeline. Like, how'd you initially first get interested in crypto first? I mean, I imagine maybe you got into crypto before NFTs, or maybe not. So walk me through that process.
Back in 2017, probably around October or November, before the big boom in all of crypto, mostly led by Bitcoin. I got into Bitcoin before it was probably like $12,000 or $15,000 at the time. And it skyrocketed, I think, close to like $18,000. And I thought, this is pretty cool. It's like a stock. I didn't really know any uses of it or anything like that. Later into the off season, I think around like December or January, I kind of compiled an idea. And I think it's somewhat similar to yield farming. I really don't know. But I told myself I was going to buy X amount of dollars in Bitcoin and spread it across 10 of the most popular altcoins at the time. Being like Litecoin, Cardano, Ripple, being just a few of them. And I was like, okay, hopefully one of them takes off, of course. And I went through that process, kind of forgot about it, which was good. And then later, during quarantine of about last year, I just looked at my Binance account. The amount of money I lost, I was not happy with. And I was like, you know what? This is just too much to keep track of. I'm just going to pull out everything. And it seemed like at the second I pulled out of everything started, booming once again.
That's how it goes, isn't it?
It's just how it is. It wasn't a huge chunk of change, but of course it would have been, good to be part of some of these smaller cryptos. But the NFT space is something that I've been in ever since January of this year. I saw a Barstool post talking about NBA Top Shot, talking about NFTs and how there's a huge amount of volume being traded at the time. So obviously I was very curious and I was very open-minded to be able to, do the research necessary to learn about this thing that no one knows what is going on. Fast forward to like February, March during spring training, I started creating some artwork. I had a teammate, Matt Caesar, who's into one artwork on Super Rare. He won a World Series with the Chicago Cubs, and he kind of took me under his wing and taught me a little bit about getting on Rareable, getting on. I finally got on Foundation and started creating some one-on-one artwork as almost like an escape to spring training. There's a lot of stresses as a younger player. You have to be on time. You don't want to step on anyone's shoes and stuff like that. So I kind of used that as a way of relaxing after my day was finished, and finally sold some pieces. I thought that was really awesome. Kind of concluded my one-of-ones when the season started in May of this year. The last project I was kind of seeing on my timeline was the Bored Apes, and I was like, oh, this kind of looks cool, but I'm just gonna forget about it. Focus on the season. And that's exactly what I did. I focused on the season until the last month of the season. That's when I started. I basically went on a date with a girl. She's currently my girlfriend. We started talking about digital art. We talked about cryptos on the first date. And I was like, that's a little strange. That's not normal for a girl to know about these things. And we talked about that. My initial idea was to get her into the space. So I started reconnecting with some of the people that I made friends with back in March and April and May, and just started thinking about ideas, brainstorming ideas. Then I finally landed on the Diamond Dogs and finally created a PFP collection 2 months later.
Yeah, awesome. So I got the Diamond Dogs collection up on OpenSea right now. So I'm just curious about the project in general. Like I see this one right here, this gold guy seems to be like, from what I'm seeing, one of the more expensive ones. So is this, are there rare ones? Are there common ones? How's the marketplace been for the Diamond Dogs so far?
So far, so good. I think that gas recently has been a killer, but all the artwork has been done by me. I created the initial sketch of the Diamond Dogs about 2 months ago, and it's finally just like evolved, and I started understanding the process of individually drawing out each trait, making them having a transparent background. That way they're stackable. But I wanted to be able to bring some type of utility. So like you can see the stadium background on that one dog in the center of the screen right now. That stadium background is going to give you access to like a one-on-one stadium tour with myself before one of my games next season. Or, if you're a holder of one of these, that's going to give you that access. I think that's what a lot of people are, desiring. You see with V Friends, there's a sense of access. And I wanted to be able to portray that, with my Diamond Dog. So to be able to meet me, to be able to, talk about art, talk about baseball, get to know me a little bit more personally, I think that would be a great way. Also, another trait that it brings some value is having that signature in the bottom right, like the one to the left of the stadium background. That's going to give you access to will call tickets. So that's going to be able to give you, from my end, it's supposed to be for friends and family, but if you're part of the Diamond Dogs, that's going to give you access to be able to watch some baseball games. And I kind of consider you friends and family for, investing in my beliefs and my vision.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you get actual like real life utility out of some of these NFTs. So I gotta ask. So obviously, Diamond Dogs got to be your favorite NFT collection. Do you have other favorite collections?
Yeah, I first initially collected the Secret Society of Whales, and I got 3 of those in like the first 4 days of collecting, and I was like, "Oh, this is a fun little addiction that I feel like I'm already starting to have." I later got into the Rogue Society bots and the Crypto Dads. The Crypto Dads are still my favorite. They're one of those very supportive communities that stick strong. And just they are able to support one another, and they have just great energy within their the cave, the Discord. So been able to meet a lot of people that like the vision for the Diamond Dogs through the Crypto Dads, and I really love the positivity through this whole space.
Do you think we'll see a correlation between your performance on the field and the value of these NFTs?
That's something that I completely have thought about before. And like, I think right now the timing of releasing this, as a collector, I feel like they should be able to understand, if they understand sports and baseball, that climbing of the ladder, getting to the big leagues, and then being able to perform on the biggest stage. And I think the performance in real life, the ability that we're going to be able to give back to the community, that's all going to be related to how well this performance of this project does. I've mentioned to some other people that really understand baseball, if I become an MVP, a Gold Glove, someone that is very well known, a household name, I believe these Diamond Dogs are going to bring weight into that conversation as well, and show like a true transparent of who I am, by being creative and not shying away from it.
So I pull up this one, the one with the stadium background, like you mentioned. It's listed at 50 ETH, which is currently around $250,000.
Yeah.
So when I go on OpenSea, I can see that it was minted from Noel address to Dusty Cactus. So is this saying that this is Dusty Cactus you? Is this who owns this NFT right now?
No, so that's from a minting website. I'm guessing that's what Noel address. I'm completely honest, I don't really understand Etherscan completely and like the whole event item activity. But that was just someone that understood the value of that individual Diamond Dog. Of course, it has the stadium, it has the signature in the bottom right. It's LSD breed, which the skin is LSD. It's got the gold jersey, so there's a lot of different rare traits on this specific dog. So whoever decided to listed that at 50 ETH, awesome by them. I love that. The understanding is the understanding of where this project could potentially go. I love the positivity from that individual.
Would you ever consider, we've seen this from other athletes, would you ever consider taking a portion of your salary in crypto and Bitcoin?
That'd be interesting. I think the hardest part about that would be getting the league involved. Baseball seems to be a little bit of on the back burner to newer and innovative stuff like crypto. Yeah. They have been able to invest in. I guess they didn't necessarily do the investing, but like FTX sponsored and put the logos on the umpire's chest. And also Candy was released a couple days before the World Series. Saw some ads for that, so I was like, okay, baseball's starting to pick it up, which is awesome. NBA obviously has Top Shot and everything, but I would love to be able to see baseball grow the game. And I think that what I'm able to do with the Diamond Dogs, integrate kind of the both communities that I'm a part of, would be a great accomplishment.
Do you ever worry that like a coach or manager or someone's going to be like, hey, Evan, like enough with this NFT stuff, get in the batting kit, we need you more time on the field, or do you feel like you have a sufficient time for both?
Yeah. I'm not too worried about that. I've definitely took the time to put myself out there, and all for the right reasons. I also do TikTok, and being able to just showcase who I am as an individual, what my daily life looks like, what I eat in a day, locker tours, stuff like that. Majority of my fans are kids that are aspiring to be a pro baseball player, and I think some people might read it the wrong way. And you see with Juju, he puts himself out there a lot, and people say like, oh, stop doing those dances, like maybe you should start working. People are going to hate on that, but also the reasoning behind it, he's able to give access to people to his life, and I think that's really, really valuable. Of course, like, he's getting known, like he's becoming a household name because of what he's doing on social media. And he seems like a pretty cool guy, pretty chill guy, but there's always going to be haters no matter what you do. If you give out $1 million to a charity, someone's going to say, why not this other charity? People are always going to have that kind of a sense of why are you doing this? Why are you doing that instead of this or that? 100%. It's just human nature.
Yeah. Well, so Evan, we also have a show dedicated to NFTs called The Roadmap. We'd love to get you back. Well, we'd love to get you on that show as
those
well.
guys, they actually know what they're talking about.
Yeah, well, I don't. I just saw I was like, oh, Cardinals organization, got to get him on the show, because I'm a huge Cardinals fan. But yeah, Evan, maybe I'll get to see you in Jupiter this year for some spring training.
Yeah, that's where I'm living right now. I'm over in West Palm, not too far away from Jupiter. So yeah, I'll be over in Jupiter for spring training. Really looking forward to the next season. Obviously, the season just ended with the World Series concluding, but already going to start itching to get back out there.
Good luck, man. Good luck on the field. Good luck with the art, and we will stay in touch.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, I might need to get one of those with a signature on it so I can get some will call tickets from Evan.
That's the way to go.
Yeah,
that's the way to go. I think that's going to be able to bring some cool utility in the real world. So hope it continues to do well. And thanks for having me, guys.
All right, you guys, smash the like for Evan Mendoza, St. Louis Cardinals by day, NFT artist by night. We appreciate it, sir. Have a good one.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right. Hey, what other show are you going to find? Like, we talk about stocks when we go from stocks to whatever the hell the middle of the show was to charts, and then we go to NFTs, and now we're going to go just do whatever we want. For the next 10 minutes.
It all ties together. We talked about NFTs with our first guest.
Yeah.
John, we talked about NFTs with our last guest, Evan. But y'all, smash the like, leave us some comments, give us some feedback on the new show setup. Email us at shows@benzinga.com. That email will be on the screen. Shout out if you're here from Evan for Diamond Dogs, let us know. Let us know in the chat too.
Yeah, and I do want to plug it again because Aaron just said it, but every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday after this show, so not today because it's Friday, right? But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday after this show, we have the roadmap. It is our NFT show, an hour each of those days, and they're talking to the biggest names in the space. We'll have to get Evan on the roadmap. I'm sure they'd love to have him on. And those guys actually know what the hell they're talking about NFTs and know way more than we do. So, but AB had the Cardinal connection, so had to get him on the show. Okay, it's 1:49. Let's just hang out for the next 10 minutes because we got Mooner Bus live in 10 minutes, so we'll just hang out until then. I'm going to put the call out again as I did yesterday. We sort of repurposed the show a little bit. We're taking ideas. Do you have any ideas for any cool segments we can do? Drop them in chat. We will strongly consider them. We have a running list of all the cool things that people have suggested for us, including bull bear debates. Someone suggested we like Bob for apples, and like there's like stocks on the tickers on the apples. Whatever you pick up, you have to talk about that. We had a great suggestion for that we create a community Robinhood account, and every day we fund it with whatever money. I don't know. We'll figure that part out later. We fund the account and make trades based on whatever the community just decides here. That's an idea. I think we might follow through on that. We had some ideas about darts, an idea about there's a lot of ideas. Any more ideas or feedback, let us know and drop it in the chat, and we may incorporate them into the show.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I love it. I'm sure I know we have a very smart, creative fan base out there, so I'm sure you guys can crowdsource some good ideas. We'll throw that email back up on the screen for 1 second.
Hey, I forgot to mention this. Well, I didn't forget, but we were busy with I don't know, Evan or Tony. I forgot. I think it was Tony. Did you see VR AR? Remember we had them on the show?
Yeah, Glimpse.
Yeah, pull up that Glimpse chart, and I'll pull it up on the screen here. Glimpse spiked very randomly while Tony was on with us, and
it's trading off those highs.
It is okay. Never mind then. BBBY also spiked in the last few minutes. Not sure what that was about. It's also off its highs, but just keeping an eye on what's moving up, what's moving down. Nothing too crazy in the past few minutes. Trying to look for any big movers. No.
Nvidia's had kind of a wild ride today. It was trading up about 4% earlier in the day, around 5% at noon Eastern, and then gave up all those gains and actually went red for a little bit before coming back up. So I love Nvidia. Can't say how much. I can't stop talking about how much I love it. But It's also just a good stock to like, if you're trading, day trading, whatever it is, it's always moving. So any stock like that is volatile, that has good movements upward and downward, always good to keep an eye on.
That's true. Yeah, that thing is a beast. I don't know. There's nothing to say about it. Nothing to say about Nvidia other than it's a beast.
Another one of my favorite stocks that I've talked about a lot on this show is doing pretty well the past week. Do you know what that is, Spencer?
Talked about on this show.
I'll give you another hint. I gave it as my favorite cannabis play.
Oh, Scott SMG.
Yep, Scott's Miracle Grow up more than 10% over the last week. The chart does. I mean, it got absolutely beaten down after a big double top that we saw back in April. The stock went from all the way from about $250 all the way down to $142. But now looks like we've got some momentum coming back into it. So I'm adding to my Scott's position right now, Spencer. Now I'm looking for this to get back up to our previous all-time highs of $250. And this one is more of a long-term investment to me than a trade. I think you have both a value play and a growth play there. The value play, obviously, the company has a well-established line of products that they sell all over, whether it's Home Depot, Lowe's, etc. They make money with that, and they also have this growth side of things with their cannabis brands. So I like Scott's right now.
I'm keeping an eye. I mentioned this morning I was watching all the reopening stocks, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen, right? Because they're all up in the pre-market. They're all going to open higher, but what's going to happen from there? Well, it turns out they've all come off those highs, right? So the airlines, the cruise lines, open near the high of the day today, and they're all down from the open. So I'm watching these, and now I'm more curious. Forget today now. I'm more curious about like Monday or Tuesday, right? Because now do we have a situation, if you pull up the daily chart and the airline stocks, we have this gap up now from today. Do we get a 2-day move on Monday, right? Today being the first day of this move, Monday being follow through over the weekend. Everyone sees, all the airline stocks trade higher on Friday, all the cruise line stocks trade higher on Friday. Do we get follow through on Monday? I suspect we very well could. Of course, I don't know, but the airline and the cruise lines have my interest right now, just because of that.
Yeah, all the airlines have been performing really well today. I mean, we look at Southwest's chart up about 6%.
Yeah, they're up from the close. See, this is the misleading thing. You see. And I'll pull it up on my screen because I want to bring this point home because it is a little bit confusing, and I'm going to bring up my Benzinga.
But okay, today's price action aside, we go back to if you go look at the daily chart on a few weeks, you can see, at least I'm looking at Southwest right now. You're looking at American Airlines.
Right,
so
whatever.
They're pretty similar. But from the stock's lows on Wednesday, last Wednesday, October 27th, the stock is up more than 10%. So to me, that's just showing that we have some momentum. We do have an uptrend being established. I would watch these stocks next week to see if we continue to see this, or if they start trading lower. I don't know. I think.
Well, that Southwest chart actually does look better than American. And here,
I think if I had to buy one right now, I'd buy Southwest.
I'm flying Spirit and Delta this weekend.
Oh God, good luck.
Don't fly.
Well, just good luck on the Spirit. Delta, you should be fine.
Thank you. I honestly, I haven't looked for flights. I had to do it for a few weeks. But if you've had to look for flights in the past few weeks, when I looked a month ago, it was absolute madness. So on the airline websites, it was the prices were insane. Like I'm talking 4 or 5 times the normal rate from what I'm used to. Hence why I'm flying Spirit.
I know, and that's the thing is everyone. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but everyone sees these things and they're like, "Oh my God, inflation this, inflation that." But there are other things that can cause upward price movements. For airlines, it could be increased demand and shortened supply.
Yep.
And same thing, across the board for products that are out there that have been hit by the supply chain crisis. there might be a smaller supply and the demand might be there, which can cause an increase in price. It's not always, oh, the money supply is bigger and it's inflation, this, inflation, that. So that's one of those cases where I would say, yeah, you're looking at plane tickets that, I mean, we've seen these headlines the past couple of months about how many flights have been canceled.
A
lot of flights. So that's going to say, oh, your supply is down. So that makes sense why the supply that's out there has an increased price point. So yeah, I just get frustrated when I see, inflation, this, inflation, that across the board, because there is inflation is a real thing and we need to talk about it, but we need to talk about it in an intelligent manner and not just, attributing inflation to every price rise that we see across the board.
Whenever we all get pissed off with the airlines, right? Every time we all fly, we all get mad. But I always try to think back to that Louis C.K. bit where he talks about, you are flying. At the end of the day, what are you doing? You're flying in a giant metal tube, 30,000 feet in the air. Have some appreciation. And
I don't appreciate. I hate flying.
All right.
I had when I was going to Orlando, Spencer, a month ago, I was flying Spirit or Frontier, one of the two on the way there.
I like Frontier.
You do?
Yeah, I like Frontier.
All right.
Oh, wait, what was that the end of the story?
No, it was a nightmare.
Oh, okay. Hey, as a reminder, today's show, we have a sponsor, everyone. Yeah, can you believe it? Look at that. We're coming a long ways. The IG Forex Trading Summit. Join them November 9th. The interactive virtual trading summit will feature industry experts teaching you all things Forex. Learn your basic, your Forex basics, the benefits of diversifying your portfolio via Forex and a contrarian approach. Also, how IG's own experts make their trades on the platform. Special guests including the VP of No Nonsense Forex and Brian Caprice. Register today for free, or your free virtual event bag, I should say, filled with Forex courses and exclusive content and more. November 9th, 11 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. The link is in the chat. I'll put it in there again. It's in the description. It's on the screen. Look, there it is. IG.com/US/trading summit. Check it out.
Beautiful. All right, Spencer. Well, with that, this week, it's a wrap. And we've got Moon or Bust coming up next. Our resident crypto expert, Logan Ross, will be taking you through all the biggest news in crypto. So yeah.
Smash that like button. Let's go. Get the likes up.
Smash the like. Big interview coming up on Moon or Bust. Spencer, let's get to it.
Everyone have a great weekend. I'll see you guys. I forgot to close in an hour and a half, but hit that like button. Moon or Bust live right now.